Hey guys, welcome to the bridge of Trekyards Command. I am your captain, Captain Foley, and I am
Uh,
joined by.
Commander Coggins, I suppose on the battle bridge maybe, smaller location.
Exactly. So that's a nice lead into what is our topic today?
Top 10 Star Trek bridges. We've already done Enterprise bridges. These are the other bridges. So try not to be the D and the E sort of thing. And we'll see what the list is. Some really interesting designs. Although it's worth saying, I'm sure we'll get into this in the episode, quite a lot of redresses.
hmm
But that's part of the charm. So, what is your top 5, Stuart?
I just want to start this list off by saying to all of you, it's a great piece of advice: never burn your bridges. Number five for me is the Raven Bridge.
Oh, good.
It's a nice departure from the regular Starfleet aesthetic that we see.
Mm.
I think it's a civilian craft actually.
Yep.
So it's got the brown colors, the tans, and it's got that central horseshoe thing. It's really neat. It's a neat little design, and it's an awesome ship. But that is my number five bridge, the Raven Bridge.
Yep, small, intimate, but clearly Federation with the MSD and the. I mean, all you really need is a pilot, and then you can have most readouts with that same thing. So yeah, great choice.
Thank you. I know I made it. Number four for me is the Excelsior Bridge from Star Trek Six.
Hmm.
Again, I love having the MSD of the ship right behind the captain.
Yeah.
Although, if that's displaying information, that might be a little bit dangerous when you're talking to an enemy. But it shows them where critical systems are.
It's okay. It's out of focus because the computer adjusts for that.
But computer technology makes it so you can turn something that's out of focus into focus. So really, look, there's their main power generator. Target that spot and fire.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a design flaw, but at the same time, it is cool to see the MSD behind the captain, even though it's not really technically sound. Anyway, great bridge. And, you can sip tea on that bridge, and you're British, you should appreciate that.
Amazing.
Number three for me is the Equinox Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
A smaller Starfleet bridge. It's really cool to see. And, well, it was damaged, I guess, but
But there are pictures of it as it should be, so we know what it looks like.
yeah. So it's just a neat departure from kind of the larger bridges, especially the Voyager at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So to see the smaller, more compact bridge and how that might drive somebody a little bit insane to be trapped on that
Yeah.
and might want to get home. Just saying.
We very rarely see such small bridges in context. I mean, TOS Connie's not a huge ship, but this is even smaller, and therefore the bridge is even smaller. And it is interesting to see how that feels different. And yeah,
Number two for me might be a cheat. It's the Enterprise C bridge, the Ambassador class bridge. So
the
not
Ambassador.
Enterprise C.
We'll say Ambassador.
Ignore the Enterprise C. It's the Ambassador class bridge. It takes us back to the nice movie era LCARS displays, and it's a nice layout as well. Plus, you get another MSD of the ship. I like the MSDs of the ships, but on the bridge, they should be to the side or maybe below or above the view screen for safety reasons. I don't know. Just saying.
That could be interesting. If it's in the front of the bridge, then everyone can always see it at all times. And if it if it is interactive, so every time you get damaged, it puts a red spot on the area.
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say. If it was a damage indicator, I mean, that would be awesome, especially for the captain. It's right in front of him. So,
Although we do see Data and Nemesis, obviously on his display, it does show damage. But I mean, eras and times and I don't know. Yeah. But then if you were like the science ensign on board a ship when it's being attacked, and you're like, I don't want to be in a fight, and then the MSD is just all red. It's like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna. Yeah, that would not be so good. So I can see why maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah.
all right. So we're down to my number one.
Number one. Okay.
And the number one for me is the USS Relativity, 29th century time ship. An amazing, small, comfy bridge. There's like three seats, two at the helm. There's one in another console. There's some standing stations. There's a one-person transporter on the bridge. Well, not one person. It's a transporter because they do beam in two or three people. But it's kind of an all-in-one bridge, and it's all you really need for a ship that size. We know it's not a super big ship.
It's a very small ship.
Yeah. So, and I like the color palette, the dark grays and the T cars with the blue. It's an amazing looking bridge, and it's one that it's obviously one of my favorites because it's number one. It's one that I would like to be in command of. Time time at my fingertips. That can't be bad at all. That would never go wrong. That's my list.
That's yeah. I mean, it's funny because when you watch the episode of Relativity, and everyone knows I'm a huge fan of that episode, it looks really big. But looking again at this picture, it's like, wow, that's actually much smaller than I thought it was. Really smaller. But yeah, I love it's dark greys, but there's very vibrant blue. There's very vibrant displays that really give it this life that somehow counteracts the blandness of somewhat black. I don't know. There's also pulsating lights. It's just really good bridge, but different. Great choices.
I know.
And modest.
Your great choices now.
Modest as well, aren't you, Cap?
Indeed. That's why I'm the captain.
My number 5, and I'm glad we both cheated, is the Ambassador Bridge. What was the bridge between the B and the D? Okay, well, it's a redress of the Stargazer Bridge, but still, I do like what they did with her. They have the 2 levels to show the progression to TNG, lots of functional consoles at the back, an oddly placed console like the front of the bridge. Perhaps maybe they should move that onto the railing to again show some progression to TNG. Pre-horseshoe maybe. But she just looked really great in the show. And we got to actually spend quite a bit of time on her, especially in the Blu-rays, looked really good. Very functional, bit more militaristic, I get the feel. I mean, come on, compare this to the B. So few frills, so much smaller. I mean, does that say that the era that it's in is a lot less explorative? I don't know. It's interesting.
I think so. I get that feel from the ship. So yeah.
But a good progression towards the D, and I just like her. Interesting design. Number 4 for me is the Nova, as an Equinox. It is an interesting, smaller Voyager design. It really is. It's far more compact and very functional. Something clearly not for comfort. It has its own fun little charm. I know it's a redress of the other Federation set, which they always have on standby. Started with the A set. Well, they had available, but I like what they did with her a lot, even though you don't get to see her battle damaged. But I like what they did with her. It's a cool set. Yeah.
I agree. It's on my list.
It is. My number 3, and I'm glad you also cheated on this, is the Excelsior / the refit bridge, because it's technically an Enterprise bridge, and technically, I mean, come on, it is basically the Enterprise a Star Trek 6 bridge, basically. That said, that is my favourite Enterprise refit bridge, so that's fine. Yeah, kind of a great midway. I love the MSD. I really like the Enterprise B version. If you take out the orangey color palette, maybe slim it down a little bit, make it a bit more muted. But I like the back console, the 2-person console where they have pre-Tuvok, human Tuvok. I like that, bit more functional. I like the alcove. It's just a more advanced feeling Star Trek 6 bridge, and I really like that. I love that LCARS. We both love that LCARS, and clearly one of your favourite ones as well. I just think it's a really awesome progression of that style. My number 2, and I'm so surprised it wasn't on your list, is the Intrepid, is Voyager. Wow, not on your list. She's sexy.
I consider it a hero ship bridge, which we might do in another
but we're
10.
Enterprise bridges. But it's true. But this is not Enterprise bridges.
Fine.
Intrepid, she's sexy, silver, advanced, functional, and different to anything we'd seen before. Really, really nicely done. And we've talked to Tim Russ, who I did on one of the Trekyards lives, and he said you could kick those walls and they wouldn't fall down. They were really well made. That bridge was really, really well made, and it feels it. It's functional and aesthetically pleasingly Starfleet. And it does feel like it's that evolution from the D, which is really sets a new style for Star Trek in terms of LCARS and placement. But it really pushes that into a far more functional feeling. That is a science vessel. That is sleek. That is sleek. It's a great design. But it's not my number 1. My number 1 of the non-Enterprise bridges is the Defiant Bridge. So different, intimate, advanced, tactical, and cool. And that is the first bridge, if I was a millionaire, I would build. Because it's the smallest, and in any direction, point that camera, you can make an interesting shot. I can do so much on that bridge. I love Cisco's chair, the little alcove at the back, a la NX-01. Pre-NX-01, but a la NX-01. Although I do not like...
holographic...
I do not...
communicator
No,
thing?
do not like the holographic when they make it just a big circle. It's awful. Apart from that, it's an overall great design. And how do you invent such a functional war design, but still feeling so Star Trek and simple and sleek? Yeah, just really, really well done. I want a Defiant, and I want a Defiant bridge. But I want comfy
And I want
quarters.
it now, damn it.
I do. I want a D quarters. I want like 3 quarters. Just cut open the walls and just give me a D quarters. Captain's quarters. They deserve to be amazing.
You're demanding.
Yeah. Hey, like a Defiant.
Honorable mention time.
Yes.
Honorable mention for me is the Excelsior again, but this time from Star Trek 3. Where
Yes.
you kind of went back to the TOS aesthetic with the flashing, colorful lights. Interesting chairs. I'm not a big fan of the captain's chair, the big swingy arms.
It's interesting.
It is, and I rather enjoy it. I don't know if they were meaning to go back to a new or the old Elcars style, because it's not the movie era computers at all.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it, and considering it was the next Federation ship, it's kind of scary if they were doing that for the computers. Maybe that's why it failed. They were using old Duotronics instead of the newer stuff. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're running the old version of DOS. It's fine. That's a great choice. I was tempted, and again, you look at it in the movie. It's clearly they just built something cheap for a couple of scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't have much money. They spent what little they had. And if you look at the Ex Astrica Scientifica, it's such a small bridge, and it really is just here's a square. Put some consoles, stick a couple of chairs in, and now it's Star Trek. But it's such a different, interesting style. Certainly doesn't represent how much bigger the Excelsior bridge module is. I mean, this does not really do it justice.
Well, it was pretty roomy, that being said.
Well, looking at this display,
big.
though...
I think it was bigger than the Enterprise bridge.
Looking at this picture, I don't know. It's... I don't know. It's weird. But I do like the colour palette, you are right. It's really... It actually makes you feel more advanced, almost.
A little bit. I think that's what they were going for, yeah. But I don't like it as far as it's the Elcars. So
no, but it's interesting.
But it is a nice callback to TOS.
It's like an anomaly of bridge styles.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's an experimental ship, so maybe everything was experimental.
Speaking of, my honorable mention is the Prometheus, another experimental craft. That was a beautiful segue. Beautiful.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm that good.
Perfect team.
Indeed.
This is a clinical, large, quite empty bridge. It has an odd lower section and lots of empty space. But it really was a prototype vehicle. I think my love for the bridge really comes as a compliment to the whole episode and the ship and just the whole style. It's the new shiny warship with a bridge that reflects that. I think it's a really cool design, weird and interesting, and not something I want to be on myself, personally.
It's interesting. I'm not a fan of the pit that they sit in.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Not a fan.
But it's interesting, it's different, and it does somehow feel, I think it's the colour palette, this prototype, this brand, like they've even painted the walls, it's an absolute bare bones ship, almost. I was about to spoil something with Rick, so I won't spoil it, but I'll close out. It's terrible, it's difficult. But yeah, just a great thing, and I love the episode so much, as I think you guys all know. But great list, Stuart. I'm surprised with some similar ones, but I kind of like that. There aren't that many to choose from, but the ones that we have chosen are really interesting, and for different reasons as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's so many to pick from that there's probably others on my list that, depending on what I'm watching at the time, hey, I really like that. It does change a little bit.
Yeah, I tried to stay away from the very much obviously redressed, a bridge into because there's if you really look, even the alcove stays from the Excelsior. I mean, my God, it repeats, which is fine, absolutely fine. But I think the Ambassador really stood out, as we both agreed. The Enterprise B really stood out. There's a few things that really stand out. Are you surprised it didn't go for the 29th century bridge?
I'm very surprised you didn't go for the 29th century bridge, actually. Why is that?
I'm going to be honest, you sold me on this, but I hadn't ever really considered it to be the bridge. However strange that sounds, because the feel is so different, I always thought of it, I don't know, I always connected it more with just the operations center.
Maybe it's not the bridge. Maybe it's the time center launching point thing.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's I've never really, I guess, looked at the picture itself, but seeing the two helm configuration, I mean, it's perfectly plausible, and I'll buy it. But the way you sold it, there's a bridge. But I don't know, it just never really screamed bridge to me. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I can see why you'd say that, but I'd like to think it's the bridge. It does say captain's chair, so.
Yeah.
And he's got his own like whole console going on. So.
Hey, it's 20th
cool.
century. It can do whatever it wants. It can be the bridge. It can be the sub bridge. It can be the triple bridge. It can be the bridge XL. Whatever. It's all good. It's the future.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And that is it for another Trekyards Top 10, guys. Let us know what you think of our bridge choices. Do you think we're wrong? Do you think, I'm looking through the list here, do you think maybe the Nebula class with the Sutherland is the best? Or the Stargazer? Or even Constellation? I don't know. It's the same damn ship I said twice. Hey, a lot of names to remember here. But guys, let us know what you think of our... You went the wrong way, didn't you? Let us know what you think of our top 10. Let us know your top 10, top 5, whatever. And tune in next week for another great top 10. So until then, this is Commander Cockins.
Captain Foley.
We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
And remember, don't burn your bridges. It's good advice.
And we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. It's a Stargate reference. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.